not about politics, it's about football.
This is a simple game.
We're going to run the ball, and we're going to pass the ball. He's just going to play football, really.
How good of a football player are you?
I just get it and try to spin it. That's all.
I just love the game.
It really is the best time of the year.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the It's Just Football Set. Trevor Sikkema and Seth Galina here with you for the final time this week on a Friday episode. Jam-packed episode we got to get to. We're recapping Thursday Night Football, Eagles versus Houston Texans. Plus, we're going to preview a lot of what we are going to see down the line on the Sunday slate and Monday as well in Week 9 of the NFL. We're talking bat signal, we're talking bets, we're talking bold predictions. Everything's on the line here Friday.
On the line?
On the line, yeah.
Is my job on the line if I do a good job right now?
We didn't win trivia, and I'm not going to lie. Chris hit me up about it, and he was like, it might be Seth. Like, it might be Seth.
Oh, it's definitely me.
Like, that might have been the reason why.
Yeah. No, it's me. And I get that, and I actually have my resignation letter handy.
No. Don't do that. Don't do that. Stand your ground.
Okay.
Tell Chris you know more than him.
Sure.
I want you to say it on the show. No, don't do that. Don't actually do that. It is funny, though. People think that we fired Mike Renner.
No, I personally fired Mike Renner.
And you're right. We didn't fire Mike Renner. You fired Mike Renner. So I've seen people in the chat like make up a bunch of like, where is Renner? And I would actually love to hear y'all's theories of where Renner has been all week, because I don't think that we've told people where Renner has been. So you guys tell us. Why has Renner been gone all week? I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you believe, the stories that you believe. Now we send it over to the boys in the production booth. Told you I'm going to call it a booth because I love calling it a booth. Quinn, what's going on, my friend? How we doing on this Friday?
It's a little late, but we should have try to give clues about where Mike is.
We should have
had the chat try to guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I want the theories.
That would have been a great idea.
That's why I want people to fire off the theories all day in the chat. Where is Mike Renner? You guys tell us. Quinn, where do you think he is? Where do you guys think he is?
I know where he is, so I'm not gonna.
I think what I think is that Mike thought that he found a plot of land that nobody owned that oil was under. So actually all week he's been digging physically with a shovel. It's out in Arizona. He's been digging in Arizona to go to try to find gold.
There. Mike Renner has not done physical labor or manual labor.
I was going to say, Mike's not really a roughneck type of guy. Like, I don't see him like the crew from Armageddon when they're on the oil rig.
That's true.
Like, I just don't think he would fit.
Maybe he watched the movie Holes and got inspired, though, you know?
Yeah.
Just watch it and got inspired.
Did you read Holes in elementary
Of course I read the book Holes.
Cool. That's like a pan North American
It has to
thing.
be. Yeah. That transcends the northern border.
Yeah.
You know, reading the book.
Can I give a shout out to Stone in the booth with the Seattle Kraken hockey jersey?
He is. Look, can we see it? Can we see it? There it is. Look at this man. Seattle through and through. Monday on the Halloween episode, he was dressed like Pete Carroll. Now he's wearing a Seattle Kraken jersey. My man's putting on. The people, the boys in the booth, they put on for their city. No doubt about it.
You know what?
Yes.
Can I give a shout out to the boys in the booth?
No, you can't. That's your second shout out. You're only allowed one, and you just gave one to Stone. So, like, who else is it?
No, I want to shout out to the booth. I mean, I've known these guys for a long time. It's my first time meeting Eli, but the other three I've known for years now, and they do such a great job, and I just want to shout them out because they're great and I love them.
Wow, can we get just constant W's in the chat for everybody in the production booth who puts on an incredible show? Y'all see the great creative segments that we do? That is only possible because one, Mike and I are idiots, but most importantly, it is those guys who put it all on. So I would love to see the chats flooded with W for the guys in the production booth. Quinn, while we're getting the W's in the chat, can we have a question of the day to kick off the show?
Yeah, let's do it.
What do we got?
Well, actually, no, I have a question for Seth first.
Question
of the day to Seth.
And this is independent. So this is just for Seth.
Yeah, this is independent. This is just when he talked about hockey, it made me think about it. Should I call it hockey or should I say puck? Like I'm a big puck fan.
Are you?
I feel like that makes me sound more like a. Like, do you guys call it puck?
No. People call it hockey.
Okay.
People don't call it. I've never even heard someone. I've heard this recently. People say.
Okay.
I've heard
never
chell
mind.
too. I don't even call it chell.
Like
Puck's
the,
not
like
very
the
big
NHL? Like the NHL?
I'm just trying to fit in.
Oh, that's terrible.
Look, next time I'm here, Quinn, we're going to go watch the Cincinnati Cyclones or whatever they're called. We're going to have a good time.
Cyclones games are great.
The only thing I know about the Cyclones games are on TikTok. I have seen that they do a empty beer can pyramid on the glass. And it just like people basically just try to
dollar beer night.
Yeah, on dollar beer night. So they just try to like make the biggest pyramid possible with all the beer cans. But that's all I know about it.
That's hockey for you.
Yeah,
that's hockey.
That's
basically.
puck.
That's Cincinnati Chell right there. That is some Cincinnati Chell. Okay, what's the actual question of the day?
All right, real question of the day because Kirk Cousins is playing Washington again. So in honor of that, only 2 quarterbacks in NFL history have the single season passing yards record for multiple franchises. Who are those quarterbacks?
Oh. Okay, wait, all right, only 2 quarterbacks in NFL history have the single season passing yards record for multiple franchises. Who are those quarterbacks? I mean, I think it's the 2 obvious ones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it kind of has to be the 2 Hall of Famers who have switched teams in the past 10 years.
Yeah, I think it's Brady and Manning.
Yeah.
I think it has to be.
I just like, because
now,
especially
did Jameis throw for more yards than
That's
Brady?
what I was thinking, but Brady last year with 17 games had like a whole bunch of yards. So
didn't he have like 5,200 passing yards last year?
Yeah, like that's insane. And honestly, Jameis could have came close in the 16 games, but I just don't think so.
I think Jameis had a 5,000 yard passing year. He led the NFL in passing yards one year. But I still think that Brady last year had more than him, given the extra game and how well he played. Yeah. And then Peyton Manning, of course. Like Peyton Manning, you know that he has it for the Colts.
And
he has to have it for
2013 or whatever.
Yeah, he has to have it for the Denver Broncos. So I think that's got to be it. I don't think we're being tricked here. I don't think we're trying to get in our head.
Yeah, the answer. Oh man, if the answer is anything but these 2, I'm gonna be so mad at Quinn. I'm gonna take back every look, nice thing I said about Quinn.
If it's not Manning and Brady, big respect to Quinn for somehow pulling this stat, because I don't know how it wouldn't be either of those guys.
Yeah.
But that's our official guess. I think that's what a lot of people in the chat have. Philip said Carson Palmer.
Sure. I mean,
Arizona
I see Stafford there too. I mean, I feel like Stafford didn't have enough yards, even though he played really well last year. But I think the yardage wasn't there.
I will give you a hint. It's not Carson Palmer. It was Carson Palmer until last year.
I was going to say, Burrow probably went off, right?
But yeah, at one point, Carson Palmer was in there.
I thought you were going to give us a hint. I thought you were going to give us a hint and be like, it's not Manning or Brady. And I'm like, whoa. I would have blown my mind.
Quinn, who's your favorite Bengals quarterback outside of Joe Burrow?
I mean, it has to be Carson, right? Who else would it be?
Dalton had some good seasons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably Dalton.
What about John Kitna?
I really liked Kitna. I liked when he like did the thing when he had like the cross on his. Remember that?
So what? He would throw a touchdown and he'd point to the cross?
Every time he'd throw a touchdown, he would like drop down.
That's actually kind of cool.
It was cool.
It's a good celebration. I peed next to Andy Dalton one time.
Okay, great. That's great. That's good. Where were you? Actually, now I need to know.
At a urinal. Where else would it be?
Okay, I guess hopefully. I hope you guys weren't at like a house rager and you were just in the backyard standing next to each other on a fence.
Yeah. It was one of those trough toilets.
Okay, all right, we're moving on. We're absolutely moving on. There was, in fact, a Thursday night football game that happened last night. The Philadelphia Eagles remained undefeated, 8-0 now on the year, beat the Houston-Texans 29-17. It was actually a crazy sports day because Eagles were playing the Texans and the Houston Astros were playing the Philadelphia Phillies in the World Series. So they were 1-1. They split the series because the Astros won last night and the Eagles won last night. Let's talk about some stats that matter, Seth, because obviously the final score is what we figured it was going to be. The Eagles were going to win this game. It's one of the best teams in the NFL going up against one of the worst. But for my first stat that matter, it has to do with the Eagles because Eagles' run defense looking rough. Right? There's a lot of really great things to talk about when it comes to this Philadelphia Eagles team. There's not a lot of weaknesses. Run defense, and it starts to feel like one of them. They had a 45.4 run defense grade last night. Dameon Pierce had 139 rushing yards on the ground. EPA per rush against the Texans, 0.59, and then EPA per rush this season, it's a lot higher even. It's the worst. That's the worst in the NFL when it comes to giving up EPA per rush this year. Especially without Jordan Davis now, it just doesn't look good, Seth.
Yeah, I mean, and let's not forget that they they're going up against, or they went up against a Texans interior offensive line that hasn't played very well. Obviously played well last night, but generally has not played well this year. And like you said, not having Jordan Davis, just the man in the middle of that defense, has been rough for them. When he's been on the field, they've been fine. Anytime he's not on the field, it's just not been very good. And like they're probably be okay even if this rush defense just gets a little better. But if
that's
it's like this,
that's all they need.
It's just a little better, but they can't, like, you get away with it last night because you're playing against Davis Mills and a selection of wide receivers who I've mostly never heard of before. So, like, you get away with it. However, you playing against a team that can run the ball on you and actually will have a quarterback and some wide receivers, it's going to be tougher.
Yeah. The thing is that they just need to not be catastrophically bad. If the Eagles can even get this run defense towards middle of the pack, just average, at that point, the rest of the team is so good at what they do to where it won't really matter. I'm looking at the rest of the NFC because I'm thinking about competition, right? Who could this really hurt against? I guess the Giants, they're a big-time rushing team, so that's something that could really bite them later in the schedule. Cowboys are another team. They obviously like to win on the ground. Minnesota, if Dalvin gets hot, but Minnesota's pretty balanced as a team. Atlanta, interesting enough, the Eagles haven't played the Falcons yet, have they?
No, they're not in the same division.
Right, but I just didn't know if they played them. Eagles schedule. I'm looking this up. Okay. But I'm just thinking about teams in the NFC that they could go up against that might give them fits here. They still have yet to play the Giants. They play the Giants later this year. They also play the Titans later this year. So if they don't figure out this, there's a span where they go Titans, Giants, Bears, Cowboys, and then the Saints, but then the Giants again to end the year. So if they can't figure out this run defense thing, that end part of the year where we go, oh, when did the Eagles lose a game? How many games did they lose? They might slip up a couple of times if they continue to let teams really run on them that way, if they don't keep the margin for error high.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. And then you think about the Cowboys, they play them without Dak. Cooper Rush was playing that game, that Sunday night game. You get Dak back, you can run the football. That's going to be tough. Dak off play action, that's tough to handle.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with you. I think do you think they're going to go undefeated? Probably not.
No.
And probably it's going to be a game where they just get gashed again on the ground, and they're giving up big chunks on play action.
Another stat that kind of goes into it when we say, hey, if you're not great at defending the run, if you're letting teams kind of pick up the easy yards, if you will, right? Because handing the ball off and beating your guy up front, that is the easiest way to move the ball if you can do it effectively. There's not a lot of risk there. Look at the turnover differential for the Eagles this year. It's insane. We talk about it all the time, like it's coach speak to say, oh, we got to win the turnover battle. Like every week, every coach says we got to win the turnover battle. And I think we kind of get tired of hearing it, but it is true. More times you have the ball, less times you give it to the other team, the better chance you have to win because you've got more series and you've got a better chance, especially with your good offense, score points, put points on the board, get the most points by the time the game is over. Eagles are plus 15 right now. That's more than double who is next. And I made sure to put the Cardinals in here at number 5 because we've got 3 teams at 6, and then the Cardinals go up. This is the 5th best point differential in the NFL, and it's just plus 3. The Eagles have 12 more. Seth, that is a recipe for any team to succeed for the Eagles, and that we've got to think that that's coming down at some point.
This is what I was going to get into. Is like, it can't keep staying like this. Like they broke a record. I think I saw yesterday. It was like the first time that a team went 8 straight games to start the season with a positive turnover differential in each game. So like that probably won't happen. But do you feel like this? And this is why they're undefeated, partly why they're undefeated. Best team in the NFC record-wise. Do you think that they're good enough? Do you think the players, the scheme, the coaches are good enough to withstand a point in the season where that turnover differential is not +2 a game, basically? I think they probably might be. I mean, I'm so high on this team. I know it didn't look great for the first half against the Texans, but I talked about it yesterday. I'm pretty high on this team, offensively and defensively. So I think they can deal with that kind of turnover like regression and still be okay.
Yeah, you're pretty high, all right. What was the one stat that you had? Because you had one for Houston that you were telling me about before the show.
Yeah, so just something that I was tracking last night as part of my real job. Derek Stingley was shadowing AJ Brown for pretty much most of the game.
Good.
And now, look, they played a lot of zone, they played a lot of cover too, but one catch for 9 yards on one target for AJ Brown in coverage on Derek Stingley.
Hell
so
yeah, baby.
You know, like the Texans not going places this year, I understand that, but you're hoping that these two rookies that got in the secondary, Derek Stingley and Jalen Petrie, figure it out, and that was a good game from Stingley last night.
I'm scrolling back up on the chat because I forgot to read where people think that Mike is. TJ said that Mike is bathing in Miller Lite. Nathan said we need to send a bat signal out for Mike, which I think is funny. Mike is currently hitting the gym. Adam said Mike is currently hitting the gym and trying to become a part of the Packers wide receiver group. Joe said Mike's in Brian Gutekunst's basement waiting for the right time. Waiting for the right time? For what?
Vlad and Quell are saying that the Eagles are kind of like a fraud, like a fake 8-0.
Whoa.
What's your thoughts on that?
Quell's saying that?
Quell's
yeah, I was going to say,
against
Quell's
it.
an Eagles fan.
Sorry.
Quell's an Eagles fan. That would be...
My apologies.
All right, so a fake 8-0?
Look, at the end of the day, it's all about, like, sadly, it's always going to be about, like, who your quarterback is. And we know that Jalen Hurts probably puts a ceiling on it. So, like, they're kind of a fake, but they're not like Pittsburgh Steelers 2020
I mean,
fake.
I would completely agree with the second part of that, where we watched the Pittsburgh Steelers still win games last year, and we're like, this isn't even like a good football team. Like, this is actually a bad football team that was somehow,
went, like, I think 10-0 before they lost.
It was absolutely insane the season that the Steelers were having when they were on that run. The Eagles are not that. I don't think the Eagles are a fake 8-0. I really don't. I would totally push back on that statement. I genuinely believe that the Eagles are in tier 1 with the Chiefs and the Bills as one of the top 3 teams in the NFL. Now, would I be betting on the Chiefs and the Bills to beat the Eagles in a matchup out of 10? We talk about that all the time. Yeah, I would. But I still think the Eagles would win 2 or 3 times in a matchup like that if you were playing 10 times against them. And if that's the case, it doesn't make you a fraud. It doesn't make you a fraud.
No, I agree. And I say, like, you know, Hurts puts a cap. You know, he can have a great game. He can go 3 straight games in the playoffs and you know, they'll win all 3 games. The other thing is, like, the rest of this roster is so good. Like, I don't think there's, like, outside of quarterback, is there a better roster? I mean, the Bills, obviously, it's a top 3 roster outside of quarterback, right? Top 2, top 1, I don't know.
The Eagles?
The Eagles.
It's not. Oh.
You know, I know we just talked about the run defense not being really good, but, like,
you said top 1, and I was like, no.
Yeah, maybe not top 1. The Bills are up there, obviously.
But they're in that conversation. They have one of the
right?
best rosters in the NFL, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, that was good. That was a good little back and forth there. Oh, forgot to say this at the front of the show, guys. We did this last week, and it was a ton of fun. We're partnering with Bro Throw for the Bro Throwdown, as Stone is calling it. If you never heard of this before, it's a great, fun, easy way to bet on the NFL and a lot of other sports as well. Go over to brothrow.com/PFF, and you can join the little group that we have for It's Just Football right now. So you can bet with us here on the set. You can bet with the guys in the production booth. You can bet with the people who are in the chat who watch the show. And it's super easy. There's no juice from the book. There's no, hey, I've got to bet $11 to get $10. It's just $10 straight up. It is essentially a peer-to-peer thing where you and I are sitting on the couch and I go, hey, bet you $10 the Jets win. And you go, all right, I'll take it. There's no middleman. There's no nothing. It's just a lot of fun. It's a fun way to bet with a lot of other people.
Definitely a fantasy thing because no one in their right mind is ever saying, I'll bet you $10 the Jets win.
Hey, the Jets were on like a 3-game win streak, weren't they?
It's true.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. So what we want you guys to do in the show right now is go to brothrow.com/PFF and create a bet. You can create a bet for the spread, the over-under, or the money line. Can't do prop bets yet, but any of those. So if there's a line that you look at, and it's super easy to figure out if you're signed up for it, you can see all those games. If there's a line that you love, place a bet And I'm going to look at them at the end of the show. The guys in the production booth are as well. Seth lives in Canada, so he can't do it. But I'm going to look at it at the end of the show, and if you guys have a bet that I'm going to take, I will take it live on the show, and we will talk about it. We'll go back and forth, and then you can come back in Monday and tell me to pay up, do the whole, Stewie Griffin, where's my money thing, and beat the crap out of me, or I can be telling you to pay up. So it's a fun way to get on the bet. That's what we're doing on Fridays, the Bro Throwdown. So check it out, brothrow.com/PFF. Seth, we got to send out the bat signal for some players this weekend. It's a fun way for us to preview what we have going on in the NFL for the upcoming week, and also a way for us to get creative and change the lights on the set and have a little bit of fun with it. So we'll each bring 3 players to the table here that we want to send out.
Where are they? Where are they?
I don't know which one of you put that in, but I love you for it. Obviously, for the Dark Knight.
That was
Perfect.
Tyler.
That's perfect. Saab, Tyler, you're the man. Thank you for that. You're the king for that stuff. So let's go. Let's go. Bat signal. I will start. This is a player that we need to show up. We're putting their face on the bat signal. We're lighting it in the night sky. We need you to show up. Okay. My first one. It's not Mike Renner, although the chat's bat signal, I guess, is for Mike Renner. Mine's Devin White, man. I gotta start with my team, and I gotta start with the guy who has been in the spotlight a lot lately for not good reasons. When you look at Devin White, his overall grade this season, 37.1. It's the 7th lowest among linebackers in the NFL. Run defense grade, 29.1. That's the 5th lowest among linebackers in the NFL. Devin White, there's been a lot of criticism for him over the last couple of years of, hey, he's not the best guy in coverage, This isn't even coverage grades. We're talking about run defense. We're talking about what Devin White should be good at, attacking the line of scrimmage, going to get ball carriers in the backfield, running sideline to sideline and making tackles. He hasn't been reliable in any of those areas this year. Seth, this was a guy who people projected he was about to sign a $100 million contract, like a 5 or 6 year, $100 million contract. He is not playing anywhere close to that kind of a value, and even for the hype he got during his Super Bowl run, which was always way too far ahead of his skis, he's not playing good this year. And he's been at the center of a lot of bad plays, specifically last week, loafing around, not giving the effort that he needs to. I hate questioning guys' efforts because I'm not the one out on that field. Tampa was playing a ton of snaps on defense, and I always hate doing this. But when everybody else on the defense is sprinting towards the sideline to go get a ball, and you, the linebacker, your main job, you're just jogging over there, not even getting in on the play, not really caring. That's coming off weeks where you've lost to the Steelers embarrassingly. You've lost to the Carolina Panthers. And a big reason why they really started to lose momentum against that Carolina Panthers game, both Devin White plays. Blown off the line of scrimmage for a big run by Chuba Hubbard or Deontay Foreman. I can't remember what it was. And then the touchdown play as well, 2 plays later. That was Devin White on film, putting out bad tape. They need this dude. He's passionate, he's fiery, and if this team's going to get the right attitude to really turn things around, Devin White's got to be a reason why, not just with his play, but also with his effort. Need the hero, man.
That was passion. There was more passion than Devin White showed on the field.
Seth, this show's very therapeutic for me, if you haven't noticed. Anytime I talk about the Buccaneers, it's very therapeutic for me. But, look, you're an LSU guy. You watched Devin White.
Yeah, I did. Man,
it's rough.
It's rough.
It's rough. It's just
really bad.
it's just not.
Really
It's just not.
He was, and I think, like you said, I think we have to remember that after that Super Bowl run in 2020, he probably was not as good as we wanted to believe. Mm-hmm. And now it's definitely even worse. But he was never worth the $100 million contract you're talking about.
Right.
And now it's even worse. And you can't. Right now, he can't be on the field. It's like really bad.
It is. It's not great.
It's really bad.
It's not great. Who's your first bat signal for?
So my bat signals are all based entirely on my very bad fantasy team.
Of course. Yeah. Of course.
Justin Herbert, number 1. I mean, it's not been good this whole season. We have stats up in there like since week 5. It honestly hasn't been been good the whole year. But like you look at one big time throw, it's Justin Herbert we're talking about. Only one big time throw that's 31st since week 5. 6.1 average depth of target since week 5. Now, and I understand, like, I get it. The receiving core banged up. You know, didn't have Mike Williams and Keenan Allen last week, I believe. They haven't had Keenan Allen basically the whole season. Joe Lombardi, the offensive coordinator, a lot you can say about this, but at the end of the day, Herbert still needs to play better, even given the supporting cast, coaching scheme, players. Offensive line, obviously losing Rashawn Slater for the whole season. Herbert still needs to play better. Herbert needs to give me 25 fantasy points. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I need it.
Is this an offense thing or a Herbert thing?
I think it's a bit of both. I think I look at it in the same way that Burrow, it's an offense thing, you know, schematics, but also like the quarterback can still overcome that a bit. And we believe in and again, talking about Burrow and Herbert, like we believe in them so much because we've seen the talent there that it is partly a Herbert thing.
All right. What about the ribs? Do the ribs go into it? Or are you like, hey, he's out there, he's playing. I know he's playing through pain, but I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe I haven't been paying attention too much, but like since that happened, maybe like the week after that happened, no one's really talked about it, especially maybe in the national media or maybe through on my Twitter feed. That no one's really talked about it. So
if it's not on Twitter, it never happened.
Exactly. Yeah, so I feel like that's it's okay, though. Obviously, that might be an injury that's hurting him, like, and it will hurt him throughout the rest of the season.
Sure. I'm going to go for my next bat signal. I'm going to go to another player who, along the lines of you saying, hey, I need this guy to show up for my fantasy team. A lot of people drafted Jonathan Taylor 1-1 in fantasy drafts this year, and he just has not been able to produce, not even close to what it's been last year. What they usually expect from Jonathan Taylor, even going back to all his days when he was at Wisconsin, playing incredible. No 100-yard games and no touchdowns after week 1. So that week 1 game he had over 100 and he had a touchdown, but since then, nothing. Now I know that he's been dealing with injury, but when you look at the Colts, only 20 explosive runs this season. That's a big-time Jonathan Taylor thing. 22nd in the NFL there. This is the stat that kills you. EPA per rush, expected points added per rush, 31st in the NFL. The only team worse than them, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, they suck. But man, this team needs Jonathan Taylor, and the running game is more than just the running back. You need everything to really help you out there. It's the guys blocking up front, I think, first and foremost, that are the biggest piece of that pie. But then it's how is the pass game really helping you? How is it alleviating things? How are you lightening up those boxes? Is the coach doing what he needs to put guys in different position to make sure the defense is always guessing, that they don't have numbers in the box? That's all things that go into the chess match of being able to run the football well. But when you do all those things, and you got a guy like Jonathan Taylor, we've seen over the last couple of years with the Colts, a lot of stats get produced, a lot of successful plays on the ground, and we just have not seen any of that. Sometimes it is up to the running back to make up for those things as best as he can. It's not an ideal situation for Jonathan Taylor, but I do believe that he is talented enough to make up for it. So I would love to see a game where they really lean on him, especially with Matt Ryan not as the starting quarterback anymore. They really need to run their offense through Jonathan Taylor. Needs to be like a kind of a come to Jesus moment for that entire rushing offense midway through the season, and they got to run their offense through JT the rest of the season. So bat signal going out for him.
Yeah, I'll add that offensive line was supposed to be. I mean, it has been such a
highest paid offensive line in the NFL,
and it's been so good for so long. And then this year, running the ball, pass protecting, it's been so bad. Like I know Matt Ryan's probably fallen off, but I thought that the offensive line did not help at all. All right. My next pick, again, for my fantasy team.
Yep.
David Montgomery. Injured. I think he missed the game.
A little Herbert hater.
Yeah. But let's go, buddy. Let's go. Yards per carry, very low, as you're about to see. Yards after contact. So, like, hey, can we break a tackle here? Can we do something? And there's just not now. And again, you just talked about it. Offensive line play is a big deal.
Of course, but they're blocking a lot better recently.
They've been better. They've been better.
He should be able to step up.
Yeah, and it's like, and we know, and I think it's just probably just a little bit of a dip in his play, and he'll get back to it because we know that this is a guy who is just a monster tackle breaker. Forced missed tackles guy. He's actually still pretty high in forced missed tackles, so he's making guys miss, but not gaining a lot of yards out of it. So I need this, again, I need 25 points from David Montgomery.
25? It's a lot, brother.
It's not going to happen.
It's a lot. I placed a wager last week that with David Montgomery back, figured that he was going to be the workhorse. They were only going to give it to him. Had a pretty slick parlay that I placed last week, and the only leg it didn't hit was Khalil Herbert getting under 10 carries. He actually led the team in carries, and I honestly feel like that is going to be a committee moving forward because Herbert looks so great. He really does.
Honestly,
that's not good for your fantasy team.
No, it's not. It is good for the Chicago Bears, though. I mean, just the fact they have two really good running backs, and now you're adding. Recently they've added the kind of Justin Fields option run game, and that's really helped. They already were a good running team, and now you're adding those elements to your run game. So I think it's been, I think it's good for the Chicago Bears that they have two good running backs. Not good for my fantasy team that I have David Montgomery.
Last bat signal. The entire Detroit Lions organization. Come on, somebody step up. It has to look better somewhere for the Lions. 1-6 record. Defense is dead last in the NFL. Offense, of course, a little better, a little bit closer to league average. But man, it's bad right now. A lot of finger pointing. Some coaches already getting fired midway through the season. They're playing a vulnerable Packers team, and the reason that's ultimately the reason why I put the bat signal up, because they're playing at home. They're playing a vulnerable Packers team, and they've kind of got an identity here to be able to beat this team, and they should be able to. Lions have been able to put a lot of points on the board. Certain weeks, obviously, it hasn't been a consistent thing, but come on, Lions. Put it all together. We know that you're probably destined for a top 5 overall pick. Maybe some Lions fans don't even want to win at this point anyways. Maybe they want to lose every game they can to get a higher draft pick. But if you're still searching for wins, and Lord, I know that coaching staff still is, this is the bat signal week. We got to show up. The defense has got to be a lot better. The offense has to have a really nice output game. And go beat a team that has controlled that division for so much of the last decade. They're vulnerable. Aaron Rodgers is still there. There's only so much he can do with the offensive weapons he has around him. You're at home. Defend home field. Come on, Lions. Let's get a win. I'm just passionate about it. I don't want the Lions to be catastrophically bad, man.
Look, good. I'm happy for you. That's all I got.
That's not the support that I was looking for. You don't believe. This man doesn't believe. All right, who's your last?
I don't believe in the defense.
Who's your last? Sure. Nah, it's tough sledding here. Who's your last one?
Christian Kirk.
Oh, also on your fantasy team.
Also on my fantasy team. Got me a lot of points weeks 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And then, as you're about to see on the stats, just hasn't done anything.
Ooh.
88th in yards per route run since week 4. Like, that is so bad. So, like, he is still on the field for, like, all of their passing snaps, and he just doesn't get the ball. And, I'll say I haven't watched a ton of the Jaguars this year. Haven't watched Kirk in-depthly, but I need it to happen so bad. I need another 25 points from Christian Kirk.
Alex is getting, I don't know if this is on me, but for Lions, Alex is saying, why is no one talking about how many damn injuries the Lions have had on offense? Literally every single skill position player has missed some time on offense. Jameson Williams hasn't even played. Patience. And I think that's ultimately, go ahead.
Well, but the offense has been good.
Right,
like you said, a little bit inconsistent, but like they've put out some big time outputs, week to week. So like I believe in that offense enough. It just clearly hasn't been able to carry what's been one of the worst defenses we've seen in a long time.
Browns is the Browns. Says Detroit Lions would be better taking Will Anderson than any QB. Just build the rest of the roster. I mean, they definitely do need pass rush, but come on. T-Money says they're organically tanking for Bryce Young.
That's fine with me. Good quarterback.
Yeah. Jared said defense is one of the worst defenses I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's really bad.
When you're bad on defense, man, it's glaring.
Yeah.
Like when you're bad on offense, obviously you don't score a lot of points, you don't win a lot of games, and there's some frustration there. But like when you're bad on defense and you're giving up 30 points a game, fans get mad. Like it's so easy to see. It is glaring when you are that bad on that side of the ball.
I had to watch the Saints defense from like 2014 to 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get it.
It was trash.
Lions fans, I get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, you still had Drew Brees during that time.
Yeah, they would.
So you don't really get it.
Yeah, and the Lions have Jared Goff. So what's the difference? No, I shouldn't say.
Right. Yeah.
Slandering Drew Brees.
Nate says, AJ Dillon, where are you? Yeah, that's a good That's a good bat signal out for A.J. Dillon. I think that Mike said that actually last week on the show, so I don't know if we're getting that remedy. Nathan says Derek Carr. I don't know if that's a Derek Carr bat signal. Cole says Devontae Adams bat signal, so I guess it's maybe we're combining things there for the Raiders. Man, that Raiders offense doesn't look good. Did you believe in what were your thoughts on the Raiders before the season? I contemplated having them as a playoff team. I really did.
Well, look, they were a playoff team last year. Now, obviously, we thought the division was going to get better. Mm-hmm. It kind of hasn't gotten that much better. It might have gotten worse. And they still just can't figure it out. And I thought that I really, really believed in everything that they brought in there. You're bringing in Adams, you're bringing in Josh McDaniel, and it's been bad, man. It's been really bad. And they played against the Saints defense last week that hasn't been very good this year.
Yeah.
They just got stonewalled. And I know the offensive line, at the end of the day, you're not going to go. Should have believed that offensive line was not going to fix itself without them doing anything about it.
Sure. Right.
And that's kind of what it's been.
I don't think people thought that Alex Leatherwood was going to be bad enough to be cut.
It's crazy.
I think that people hoped that Dylan Parham would be a little bit better juice in the middle with the draft pick they got there. People already like Colton Middler. But I truly, the offensive line is even worse than some of the lower projections that we had going into the season. All right, well, it's too negative. We're getting too negative on this show. Those are our bat signal players, but we need to bring up the positivity. We need to bring up the energy. Who better to do that than our good friend Ian Hartitz? He is the fantasy master here at Pro Football Focus, here on this show on It's Just Football. He joins us every single week to talk fantasy football. If you guys have some start-sit questions, fire them off in the chat, and we will get to them at the end of our little talk with Ian. Ian, how are we doing today, my friend?
Great, man. And, it's too bad Mike isn't here, but PFF is a meritocracy and best man wins. So credit to Seth, dragged him out here from Canada, and we'll see you next year maybe, Mike.
Yeah, we have an octagon in the garage, and Seth just showed up one day with boxing glove, and he just pointed at Mike. And at that point, it's like a lion in the wilderness where he's just like, all right, he comes up and he's like, all right, this is, we're going to figure out whose tribe this is now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was like, just not to give it away too much, but me and Ian, we kind of it was we had this planned.
You like a WWE heel turn thing.
Yeah, me and Ian don't
Damn.
get to see each other that much, so we just planned it so that we can hang out on this lovely Friday morning.
Listen, this is what gets the ratings up. So I love this. Let's script as much of this show as possible, and then throw some metal chairs and some steel cages in it, and then we'll be making some real money. Ian, I'm looking at your start-sit list that you send us every single week. You got Rondale Moore on here. I love Rondale Moore. Have a very difficult time quitting the young man, having hope for him. So why are you hopeful for Rondale Moore this week? Sell me on him. This is a player that I love his skill set. Tell me what he's going to be able to do this week.
Starts off the year with the hamstring injury. We didn't actually get him back into a full-time role until week 4. And since then, we've seen 3 games where he's been what he's supposed to be. They're starting slot receiver, getting some gadget stuff, and just getting force-fed the ball in a similar manner as Curtis Samuel. Low ADOT, yada, yada, yada. He's getting force-fed the reception 7, 6, and 7 in his 3 full-time games as a slot receiver. The 2 duds came when they had to play him outside without A.J. Green and without Robbie Anderson even on the team yet. So facing off against the Seattle Seahawks secondary, they have been improving. I mean, this is not, I think that game we had in week 5 between them and the Lions, it was 2 of the top 2 offenses and also 2 of the top 2 of the bottom 2 defenses, I should say. So Seattle, not terrible on defense, but guys, with Kyler Murray slowly but surely starting to click, healthy Hopkins out there, I do think this can be an offense that enables more than one consistent pass catcher. And with Rondale cemented in that slot, I think he can get it done against Seattle. So as always, this is, with context, don't start Rondale Moore over, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, but top 26 receiver this week for me.
Kyler Murray getting better even after a Call of Duty game comes out. I think that's an indictment on the servers. Fix the servers, Infinity War. We want to play the game. I just had to get that off my chest.
Something about the sentence "top 26 receivers" sounds funny. I don't know why.
Hey, we got to make the numbers work. We're all data science.
Call me out. All right, it's top 24. I have him 26. You happy? He's a upside wide receiver 3. Is that better, Seth? I want Mike back. What is this?
We're all data scientists here. We're just trying to give you guys the data and spin it in a way where it makes it seem the best.
Ian, I recently went on the show, and by recently I mean 5 minutes ago, and talked about Justin Herbert as my starting quarterback in my fantasy league. You have Gerald Everett as a start. That sounds good for me.
Yeah, it can't hurt, man. He needs to throw the ball to someone at this point. It's weird. There are a certain number of quarterbacks. Even we just brought up Kyler. Like, look at him. He had Greg Dortch as number one receiver for a good 3-4 weeks. Some of Tom Brady's struggles with the wide receivers. Aaron Rodgers, we already hated the Packers wide receivers. Now they're all hurt. What did we expect? Similar thing going on with the Chargers. I mean, Keenan has played about half of football this season. Mike Williams now with the high ankle sprain. I mean, Justin Herbert, I know Seth obviously gets added every single time the guy makes a great throw. And a lot of those great throws were to Jalen Guyton. And even he hasn't played since week 3 out here. So really at this point, we have Austin Eckler on pace to catch 129 passes, which is fantastic for Austin Eckler fantasy managers. I'm not so sure about the real life Chargers offense, though. Similar phenomenon, I think, as we're seeing in Carolina, where, maybe you shouldn't be throwing to your running back 10, 12 times a game to have the best offense. But right now, with the non-checkdowns going on in this offense, and we'll even see if Eckler is going to be out there playing through the abdomen injury, it's looking like Josh Palmer and Gerald Everett as the top 2 players in this passing game. And they're getting a Falcons defense that already bad. I mean, hey, I appreciate AJ Terrell, following number 1 receivers more this year. He's not just sticking to his side. But even before he got injured, he'd allowed a league-high 7 touchdowns. Now you add up this banged-up Falcons secondary, and they are the single worst defense in the league in PPR points per game allowed to wide receivers, and not much better against tight ends. So Josh Palmer and Gerald Everett, get behind them this week, because we know Justin Herbert's still going to put up some fairly decent counting stats. They're about 2 of the last few guys available to even catch the ball.
You guys see some of those graphics on the screen. That's straight from the PFF app. If you don't have it right now, you can look at all of our great fantasy tools that Ian is referencing throughout this segment by going over to the Apple Store, checking out PFF or Pro Football Focus, downloading it, and you can see all that stuff right in the palm of your hand. Ian, you have TJ Hockenson on the sit list. Obviously, he just gets traded over there, so expectations are definitely going to be tempered. But I'm curious, what are your short-term and long-term thoughts for TJ Hockenson, now a member of the Minnesota Vikings?
It's honestly like I expect a little more consistency. I think we can agree that Kirk Cousins gets that little edge over Jared Goff. But I don't know, like Cousins, I feel like Jared Goff is still on like the Kirk Cousins spectrum to an extent. Like he's not full Kirk Cousins, but he's pretty close out there. And honestly, I really wouldn't change the rest of season outlook for Hockenson all that much. The guy throughout his career has been a mid-tier tight end 1, and that's kind of what I'm expecting him to be in Minnesota. Maybe a little bit more upside considering, he is just 1 injury away to old man Adam Thielen from really leaping up and being that offense's number 2 pass game option. But just for this week, having the short week and learning the whole new offense, he does come in as my overall tight end 9. So I do think there are a good amount of guys you should be starting ahead of Hockenson, Gerald Everett, even someone like Taysom Hill, who I think we're just more confident in having a larger role this week. So Hockenson, obviously, number 8 overall pick back in the day for a reason. But the one thing we do need to keep an eye out on is this Vikings offense. Even before Irv Smith got hurt, they weren't giving him this full 80-90% snap role. It really was more of a 60-40 committee between him and Johnny Munt. So they gave up a lot for TJ Hockenson. It makes sense that they changed that rule. But hey, we have seen this in the NFL this year where we have this idea about a tight end getting a certain amount of reps in a new system. It doesn't always work out that way. So Hockenson, again, very hard time believing that we'll be ranking him outside the top 8 too many weeks moving forward. But this week, just as long as there's a little bit of a question on my mind about his overall volume, I'm going to go ahead and have him tight end 9.
Got it.
You have Devin Singletary as a sit. Now, that has to do with, obviously, look, they don't run the ball a lot. Maybe doesn't get a lot of touches. And then you add in a player like Nyheim Hines. Like, that's just, you would imagine they're going to try and go to Nyheim Hines early, see what he has for the team. Is that why Singletary's a sit?
And I'd hope that James Cook isn't completely out of the picture. The dude's finally starting to flash out there a little bit, and they used a 2nd-round pick on him for a reason. Man, like the Bills, the 49ers, we have all these nice things to say about them always, and then they just have this obsession with upgrading running backs that they just prove time and time again they don't really need out there. So since Josh Allen joined the Bills, or just specifically since 2020, I mean, this has been a bottom 8 offense in terms of targets to running backs and just goal line carries. And it's nothing against this offense. It's obviously fantastic, but it's the way that Josh Allen plays football. It's great for everyone except usually his running backs in fantasy. He gets into the equation in terms of rushing near the goal line, and he's going to scramble instead of checking down. So Devin Singletary has already needed this 80% snap role to even be all that relevant in fantasy, because this is a rare offense where we just aren't getting that many fantasy friendly opportunities for the running backs. Now the problem this week, going up against the Jets, fully expecting this to be a blowout. Last time I saw that line, I believe they were favored by 10.5 points. And this year in the actually 3 games that we have seen the Bills go out there and win by 20-plus points, 59, 54, and 54% snap rates for Devin Singletary. So we can live with 2 running back committees in the year 2022. There's only so many workhorse, 300-touch running backs left. Once it gets to 3, though, and in a potential game script like this, well, Singletary just might not have that much time to, actually get those touches. I do think it's problematic for him. So Bills, again, one of the most pass-heavy offenses in the league. And hell, a couple weeks ago, even when they did get up 20-30 and they pulled Josh Allen from the game, they were still tossing the rock around the yard. So unique offense, going to put up a ton of points. Unfortunately, not many for the running back. 0 rushing touchdowns for Devin Singletary this year. Still, mainstream media won't talk about it, guys.
All right, let's do a little rapid fire from the chat. Let's go some start-sit questions. We're starting with Cole on this one. He's asking James Conner or A.J. Dillon. We've had a couple people talk about A.J. Dillon throughout the show. So what do you think about Conner versus Dillon?
Conner's back, then go ahead and give me James Conner in his 3 games this year. He's played over 60% snaps and had at least 15 touches every single time. But if there was ever going to be a get-right spot for A.J. Dillon, doesn't it have to be this week? So I think it'll be decided for you with the injury. If both are healthy, give me James Conner.
I see here from T-Money87, Derek Carr or Justin Fields.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go with Fields, guys. He's actually low-key 4 straight weeks as a top 12 fantasy football quarterback. And then November, it's like, oh, they brought in Chase Claypool. Look at the Bears trying to give Justin Fields some weapons. They really want to find out if Justin Fields can be the guy. They just waited until November because that makes a ton of sense to go ahead and do that. But this year, only Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson averaging more fantasy points per game from just rushing production than Justin Fields. This is what we were hoping for. You can be a mediocre, average real-life quarterback and still a great fantasy quarterback. Right now, that's Justin Fields.
We've got a 3-way here between Deonta Foreman, Kenyon Drake, and Isaiah Pacheco. Does anybody stand out from those 3?
I go Deonta Foreman. I think regardless of if Chuba Hubbard is going to be back or not, which it didn't exactly sound like he is imminent. So 26 carries for Foreman last week. I don't know that Panthers are going to be scoring 34 points week in and week out, but unfortunately in Baltimore and Kansas City, they are sticking to 3 back committees. Worst case, Foreman's only going to be in a 2, so give me Deonta Foreman. By the way, guys, best recovery from an Achilles yet. Love to see that. Deonta Foreman out there grounded.
We just talked about T.J. Hawkinson, but T.J. Hawkinson or Kyle Pitts. Like, I don't, Kyle Pitts obviously not getting the numbers that we all expected, so I think this is kind of an interesting one.
Gotta go with Kyle Pitts, I think. Guys, did you see there's a play last week. They put Pitts just like in orbit motion. They had him like on the sideline as like the check down guy, and he catches a ho-hum check down and all of a sudden rips off this like 30-yard game where it's like, oh my God, like you give the ball to this 6'5", 230 alien who can run a 4.4 in the open field, and he's really hard to get to the ground. Like, who would have thought that? So I guess my thing is, as much as losers like myself love to say, like, oh, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, throw him the ball, Arthur Smith, what are you doing? It's a top 10 offense in scoring and EPA per play and everything. And if you would have said that to Falcons fans before the year, like, hey, Mariota's your quarterback and you guys are going to be a top 10 offense, I'm sure they'd take that. So I just hope that our one true king, Cordero Patterson, is healthy enough to return this week. But yeah, go ahead and give me Kyle Pitts. They have thrown him the ball a good amount on like a per route basis. They throw the ball less than any team since the 2009 Rex Ryan led New York Jets. So Kyle Pitts, even though I'm not happy about it.
This is the last one, and I always got to get to DT Dynasty's questions because he is the reverse Eagles right now. He is 0-8 in fantasy, so I have to pick his question as the last one here. He needs, I think, 1 out of this 4. Gus Edwards, Deion Jackson, Nyheim Hines, or Michael Carter.
Hey, America loves a comeback, man. Let's get it. I would say Deion Jackson most likely. Jonathan Taylor hasn't been able to practice to start this week. So with Edwards, he's going to be a game time decision for Monday night. So I don't think we can really trust him at all because you're not going to have any outs if he does end up getting ruled out. Nyheim Hines on the short week, not really sure how involved he's going to be in Buffalo. So for me, if Jonathan Taylor is out, it's definitely Deion Jackson. I mean, he was the overall PPR RB1 back in week 6 when Taylor and Hines missed action. Otherwise, I think it's reasonable enough to go to Michael Carter. The only potential problem with the Jets is we're hoping it's Michael Carter and James Robinson. I think we'd all be fine with that committee. Last week, Ty Johnson, of course, had to also play 33% of those offensive snaps. So once again, we're okay with 2 running back committees, 3 or 4, especially in an offense like the Jets that we're not expecting to score many points. That's when things get complicated.
All right, Ian. You're the best, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
See you,
Appreciate you guys. Northwestern is so dead.
Wow.
That's wow. Really going out of the limb there.
State versus Northwestern. I would like to think that they're so dead. El Mucho Ding Dong in the chat says that I'm afraid to say El Mucho Ding Dong on the show.
And there you go. El Mucho Ding Dong.
El Mucho Ding Dong. I'm not scared of this. I'm not scared of this show. You can't make me scared on my own set. All right, Seth, the people loved the whiteboard segment so much yesterday.
That we're never doing it again.
That you're fired. No, we're going to a different one. We're going back to the whiteboard today because we have a play. Let's go over there now.
Let's go.
There's a play.
I'm excited.
From the Miami Dolphins that you picked out.
Yeah.
Specifically to tell us why it's undefeated? Why they're undefeated?
So this is a play. We're going to draw it up in a second. This is a play that I have seen throughout the years. Maybe I saw it first a couple of years ago. I think Houston was running it a bit.
Okay.
And every team is, not every team, there's a few teams that are running it. The only team that has built their entire offense out of this play that I'm about to draw off is the Miami Dolphins. And when Mike McDaniel is doing there, obviously, again, the receivers are great. Tua's playing pretty good ball. What they're doing there is insane, and they build their whole package, especially on first down, out of this play. So let me explain it to you guys right now. So we're talking about RPOs, we're talking about zone reads. So what they're going to do here is, let's start with the formation. What they like to do is line up with 3 players to one side, 1 to the other side, right? So trips formation.
Okay.
They're going to try and get tight. So this distance is not, let's say the sideline was over here, right? They're going to try and cut this split down. So he's only about 8 yards from the tackle, and we're going to see why, because they want to use this space over here. So we start here with the trips formation. In the NFL, when a team gives you a strength of the formation, so you can just picture it here. You got 3 here, you got 1 here. Where's the strength? It's to this side. What they're going to try and do is put the 3-tech nose tackle to the side of the strength. So that means in the B gap you have your nose. That means the A gap is going to be filled by the nose tackle, okay? So we're going to get to this later. We're going to have a bubble, what we call a bubble over here, right? There's no one in this gap. The will is in this gap, but there's no defensive lineman.
Okay.
What we're going to try and do is run zone read. The most common play in football. Ball's going this way, and we're going to go like this, and everyone's going to zone it up to this side, right? What they're going to add to it is the RPO and the read option part of it. So quarterback takes a snap, and you're reading this defensive end, right? If he comes in, we keep it. If he stays outside, we give to the running back. But what they're going to add is all this window dressing, just to get into the same concept. First thing they're going to do is they're going to run this guy usually on a jet motion. Sometimes they'll motion him, but usually on a jet motion. So you're going blah, 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 and he's
before the snap.
Before the snap, right? So he's going to end up getting there. They're going to snap the ball when he's about there, let's say. The next guy who, again, because we're in a tight split, we can get across the formation. Once the snap happens, so now we have a wide receiver here, this guy's here, he's going to come across after the snap. So we end up, after the snap, we were trips to one side. Now where's the trips? It's over this side, right? So we've changed the strength of the formation just by motion, pre-snap alignment, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what we're trying to do is, why we're doing that is we want to make sure that the bubble is to the side of the running back. And that means when there's a bubble, that defensive end says, man, I don't got a buddy inside of me. So if this tackle runs away from me and I'm being read, I kind of got to run down inside, because where's my buddy? He's not there.
Right.
Once you run down inside, we know the quarterback is going to keep the football. They don't mind handing the ball off, but the big plays happen where? When a quarterback keeps it and he gets outside and he can throw the ball down the field.
Sure.
So by alignment, they're trying to get this action, okay? They're trying to get all this pre-snap motion, because when you get all this motion, they got to bump over. Guess what? Not that hard. Not that easy to just say, oh, yeah, all of a sudden, I'm an A-gap player, I got to be a B-gap player after the snap. This is all difficult stuff when we talk about motion all the time, how it can confuse the defense. So that's in the run aspect. Now the quarterback keeps it, what do we have? We have a nice little seam throw here, and we got the wheel route.
Oh, yeah.
This seam throw, and we have the running back coming across.
The other wide receiver.
Yeah, the other wide receiver coming across.
Got you.
So now we have 1, 2, 3, nice little triangle. And how many defenders do we have? Just 1, just 2. So now we just played the game. You want to come inside because of the tight split. You want to stay onside here. You want to come down on this little check down. We throw here. You want to stay outside. We throw here. You want to keep both of them back. We throw here. And they are absolutely destroyed the Detroit Lions, who lined up really in this defense last week. Just absolutely destroyed them. And then the big thing is, like I said, they build their whole offense off of this. So, we're going to give you all this motion, but actually, it's a play action. Into this void. You see all this action. Oh my God, it's the play. Guys, it's the play. They're running the play. Bang, right
we
here.
watched It's Just Football. We saw what Seth was talking about.
And they hit it back there. They're going to say, here's the play. It's a wheel. Bang, inside. It's a slant. Bang, inside. Like, they're just, and then they want to hand the ball off. They don't want to have any problems.
Yeah.
This guy, maybe it's not, a lot of times this is Tyreek Hill. This is just Jalen Waddle. Sometimes they'll have a bigger body player here. It won't be Tyreek Hill. He'll come across and he'll block this defensive end. Now they say, we're not even reading him. Hand the ball off, big play.
Yeah.
Everything is built off of this one concept that is absolutely terrorizing the league. And it's super exciting to watch. Like I said, they killed the Lions with it last week. They've been killing every team with it. This is partly why they are so good on offense. Now, obviously, having Jalen Waddle, having Tyreek Hill, having amazing seasons.
Well, that was my follow-up question is, yesterday we had these labeled, A.J. Brown, it was 11, it was 6, it was Quez Watkins, 16, it was Dallas Goedert, 88 on the line of scrimmage. Today, as we wrote this up, you're like, okay, just put wide receiver, tight end, like, don't specify it. So, is all of this interchangeable just because of how good those guys are?
So much of his, and you just want, because like I said, if you put this wide receiver here, and like I said, this is Tyreek Hill, he's going to run the flat route. Fine, okay, we can get the ball. If we get the ball, he can turn up the field. But do we always want Tyreek Hill catching the ball at the line of scrimmage? No, sometimes we want to put, Tyreek Hill as the guy who comes in motion and runs the wheel.
Yeah.
Do we like Tyreek Hill on a wheel route? Yes, we do.
Yeah, you should.
Do we like him on a seam route? Yes, we do. So they can change, and then even like a guy like Mike Gesicki who can move around, be in a different position, different alignments, he can get the job done in the different position. So that's why we don't want to specify the players. We just want to be like, hey, they can put a bunch of different guys there and still get the job done. I also want to give a shout out. I kind of said it yesterday on the show to Tua. His eye discipline, his eye manipulation of defenders this year has been great. His accuracy has been really good. So shout out to him and Mike McDaniel, who's doing a hell of a job scheming it up.
Love it. My only other counter or question is when you talked about this read option here and Tua being a threat, does he have enough mobility to still always be a threat, or does it really matter? It's just the fact that he can keep it and pick up even a little bit of yardage, is the threat still there with it?
That's the main thing. Just like that little bit of a threat. So we call it like the quintuple option. Here's option 1. Quarterback running would be option 2.
Right.
And then we have 3, 4, and 5. So it's a quintuple option, which is, and I agree. You just need a little bit. He's not
just
going to run
a moment of hesitation.
A moment of hesitation that like, hey, maybe he keeps it and then I'm screwed if I'm the defensive end. He's not going to run the ball a lot. We know that's not his game, but he does have a little tiny smidge of mobility that's just enough to get this play off the ground.
That's brilliant. Great stuff, man. It's turned into scribble, but it's one of those things where we walk up to the board. You know how people would just throw paint on an open canvas and be like, this is art. This right here.
Football Picasso.
This is art. This is art right there. That was beautiful, my friend. Dude, the Dolphins offense has been so much fun to watch over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, those 2 wide receivers, we talked about Jalen Waddle, we talked about Tyreek Hill, with them playing as well as they are. Feels like they could break the record, those 2, for maybe the most receiving yards for a duo has ever had in the NFL with how well that offense is lining up.
I got to get a shout out to our buddy.
Who's our buddy?
Benjamin Solak.
Yes.
TheRinger.com. Go read his piece on Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. A really good piece on how they're just absolutely killing teams. Tyreek Waddle is going to end the season. He's on pace to end this. Tyreek Hill. Did I say Tyreek Waddle?
No, you said Tyreek Hill.
Okay, Tyreek Hill is.
You just said Tyreek Waddle.
On pace to break the record for yards per route run in a season. if I'm not mistaken.
It's pretty wild.
So, yeah, anyways, go read Ben Solak's piece on Ringer.com.
Yeah, never heard of Ben before, never hosted a podcast with him before. No, obviously Ben is truly one of the most brilliant guys we have in the space. He does fantastic work. Go read all his stuff. Seth, that was awesome though, man. Where do you have this Dolphins team? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but like offensively, where do you have them as a tier in the NFL right now? I feel like they've got to be in the conversation with the best, right?
I think they're tier 1. I mean, it goes into the same stuff we're talking about with the Eagles. Like, does the quarterback give you enough when he has to be the guy? When the scheme is not there, when the other team's defense is doing a good job, like, can he be the guy to win you games? Just like Jalen Hurts, I don't think we're sure yet. But this offense has been electric to start the season.
Love it. Totally agree with it. All right, let's get you guys out of here with some bold predictions. We've also got the Bro Throw Throwdown, which we're going to do right after that. So if you haven't yet, go to brothrow.com/PFF. Throw down a bet, and I'm going to refresh the page in like 5 minutes here, and I'm going to take one of y'all's bets. So it better be a good one that wins me money. What's your first bold prediction that you have here for this week, Seth?
It's a kind of double. It's 2-1 basically, I would say, and that's just that again. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers lose on the same weekend.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah,
I guess it's like, you know what?
I can see
is it a bold prediction? I'm not even sure it's a bold prediction.
Unfortunately, at this point, it's not.
You know, the Packers are a 3.5-point favorites against the Lions, so a little bit of a bold prediction
on the road team.
But yeah, I think it's going to happen again.
Bucs are playing the Rams, and Rams are also not in a great spot. I mean, the offensive line is bad. Cooper Kupp is banged up. They can't run the football. Matthew Stafford's turning it over. They still have the stars on the defensive side of the football, but how good and how big of a threat are the Rams? It's a long distance for them to travel. Certainly, this is possible. This is possible for both of these. I actually don't even, like you said, I don't even know how bold this is. I don't even know how bold of a prediction this is. But when you put the Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady are going to lose again, how many times have Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady lost in a single week over their careers? Probably not many. So in the span of the last 2 decades, it's probably a bold prediction. Maybe not so much for this season. But my bold prediction goes off of what you just said. Lions beat the Packers. I said in the bat signal, I want the Lions to show up. I want them to win a game here, okay? Don't lose out, man. It's so debilitating. You got to get even if the Lions are going to be bad, even if the Lions are only going to win 3 or 4 games this season, you got to have something to give you hope, because this Lions team is teetering on full-on catastrophe with what people believe about this team. I think it was Alex who said in the chat earlier in the show, hey, they've been hurt along the offensive side of things. Like, let them get healthy. Let them have another year. They'll be fine. I agree that the timeline is, I don't want to say according to plan, because I did think that they were going to be a little bit better this year, but they were supposed to be bad this year. They are still rebuilding. The problem is when you get into being catastrophically bad, like when the fan base totally loses hope in everything that's going on, the front office, the coaching staff, that regime, that's when things start to get dangerous. That's when guys don't get the full 3 years, if you will, to slingshot a rebuild. And so this is a game that I think would go a long way into the Lions, though they're not going to be a playoff team this year, taking that step to being like, okay, we can actually look at this season and it could be a building block for them. You can see where the Packers are kind of susceptible in this game. I think it is a recipe where the Lions could have success. And home field. Come on, don't be embarrassing throughout the season. Let's get a win here. Let's let the defense don't look like the worst thing that we've ever seen. Is that too much to ask, Seth?
I want you to talk about, I'm over the Packers.
Okay.
I want you to talk about how badly the Bucs are going to lose this weekend. Are they even playing this weekend? They're playing this weekend, right?
You didn't even look it up. You didn't even, yeah, they're playing the Rams. They're playing the Rams.
Right, it's the second America's Game of the Week on Fox.
Is it?
Nice.
So. Nice. Oh, yeah, it's 4:25 games. Yeah. So everybody gets to watch my sorrow as the Rams probably take down the Buccaneers again. Look, the biggest thing with the Buccaneers, and I've said this all week, like, it's just mental for them. They have the ingredients, even with all the injuries they have on their team. They have the ability to beat this Rams team. They have the ability to beat a lot of teams. But right now, the Bucs don't believe that they can win a football game. Anytime you even give us a little bit of a doubt when you walk into that stadium, the other guys on the other side of the field, they're professionals. They're too good. If you don't think you're going to win every week, you're not going to win. And right now, the Bucs do not believe that they can win any game, clearly.
I know that the NFC South, the NFC in general, just not a lot of great teams there. This game, Rams-Bucs, loser, is in a rough spot, man, in terms of making the playoffs. Like, it could be I think they're probably both 3 and 5, if I'm not mistaken. Like this, you go to 3 and 6, and you don't have a lot of games left to make up for it. I accidentally just Googled NHL standings instead of NFL standings.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
And then I figure out, you know.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Puck standings.
Bruins playing pretty well. Yeah, how are the puck standings? Who leads the NHL in points right now?
I think it's the Bruins.
It's got to be the Bruins.
20
right?
points, yeah, 20 points Bruins, I think so.
Yeah, I think
having a good season. The hated, both of us, and the Golden Knights are also have 20 points. Both of us hate the Bruins.
Oh,
so
truly.
That's good.
Yeah.
The important thing is that the Canadians only have 11 points, gunning for that number 1 pick again this year, and then the rebuild will really, truly begin.
Is the number 1 pick good? Like, is it a good player?
It's a generational.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
It's a guy. Connor Bedard. It's a guy.
Okay, all right.
So we're gunning for that.
I hope that you get it, because I do want to be happy for you. Somebody said, the Burning Ham said that Trev wants Mike to be sad. Yeah, I would love for that. I would love for the Lions to be the Packers, and I would love for Mike to come back on this show, you know, if he ever comes back on the show, and I get to say that my bold prediction was correct and that his team lost again. Be fun. Be a good time.
I love when Mike's sad. I love it.
Yeah. We wouldn't know because he's not on the show now. All right, Bro Throw Throwdown. Let's get into it. I'm refreshing the page. I'm seeing if anybody placed a bets here. Eli did place a bet. I need to get Eli back. Patrick's also got a bet on here. BroThrow.com/PFF. You can get in the group, create an account. It's super easy. It's all right there. You can connect your Cash App, your Venmo, all that stuff. Easiest way to be able to transfer money electronically. All right, you know what? I'm gonna place a bet.
Here we go.
I'm gonna place a bet here. Games. Ooh, where's the Seahawks? No, the chat believes in the Seahawks too much. Because I want the Seahawks money line.
The chat, like all smart people, believe in the Seahawks.
I know. What is the chat gonna bet me on the most here, though? I'm looking at spreads. I'm looking at over/unders. I'm looking at money lines. You know what? I think I'm just gonna place the Seahawks bet. If there's any Cardinals believers out there, or should I go reverse? No, I'm not gonna win money that way. I'm not gonna win money. Seth, help me out here. Come on.
I can't even get on the website.
The Panthers are getting 7 against the Bengals? I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers plus 7.
Points.
Yep, plus 7. We're going $10.
Here we go.
Somebody bet me.
I'll split it with you. I'll go 5.
You want to go 5?
Hold on. I have American Cash.
Or do you want to go gutsy and say Panthers money line?
Panthers money line.
It's in Cincinnati, but Cincinnati doesn't have Jamar Chase.
That's right.
Do we believe in the Panthers?
Not one bit.
Okay, then
so
we're
then
gonna
put it in. Put in Panthers money line. Let's go.
All right, fine. I'll throw away my money. I'll do it. Carolina Panthers money line. Somebody bet me. Panthers. Somebody bet us. $10 on the line. We win 31. So we're rich. If we hit this.
I'm already rich, baby.
Okay, all right. We're continuing.
Rich in spirit, not actual.
No, of course not. No.
No.
Nobody's actually rich.
No.
All right, I'm putting it on the line right there. Somebody bet me. Panthers money line. BroThrow.com/PFF. You can sign up. You can see the bet. And if you think I'm wild for thinking that the Panthers would win this game, go take my money.
Take his money, folks.
It's super easy. Well, it's your money too. You just went halfsies with me.
I don't remember doing that.
Okay. All right. Well, Quinn, can we get to a question of the day answer? Is it Peyton Manning and Tom Brady?
Is that the final answer?
Yeah.
Can we show the question again, just for everybody, real quick, just so they can get a reminder? We can throw out our final guesses here. All right. How is Vegas? Oh, Nathan's asking how is Vegas favorite at Jacksonville? Ooh, that's another good one. But I don't think anybody in the chat would.
No, we got to go bold. We got to go.
Captain Spock says Arizona will upset the Seahawks. Actually says Seahawks, but you can't say that on the show.
What's that?
Only 2 quarterbacks in NFL history have the single-season passing yards record for multiple franchises. Who are those quarterbacks? I think it's Peyton Manning with the Colts and the Denver Broncos, and I think it's Tom Brady with the New England Patriots and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not shaking your hand. I don't know if I saw anybody who said it was different.
I'm so sad right now.
Because I didn't shake your hand?
I'm so sad.
No, we'll do it after the show. Quell actually says Matthew Stafford. Patrick says Jay Cutler and Kirk Cousins. No way.
Man, the problem with Cutler is that Manning probably beat his record in Denver.
Right.
So that's
had to.
Look, I think the Stafford thing makes sense. I just don't think Stafford thing makes a lot of sense because, again, his first year with the Rams is a 17-game season.
Yeah. We're going Brady and Manning. We're going Brady and Manning. If it's somebody else, then fantastic question of the day here for Quinn. Who is it?
You got half of it.
Okay.
It was Stafford. It's Stafford and Brady.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck has the single-season Colts record.
Oh, of course. I'm so stupid. Oh my God.
A lot of people just forget.
This is why I didn't shake your hand.
We're together in this.
That's why I didn't shake your hand.
We're going down together.
You're supposed to pick me up. We failed at trivia yesterday.
We failed
at the question of the day today. Did anybody get it right? Stafford and Brady?
Yeah, a whole bunch of people got it right.
Yeah, there was a lot of Staffords, but Chat Champ, I mean, there's only one Chat Champ today.
Who's the Chat Champ?
El Mucho Ding Dong.
Oh!
I mean, who else would it be?
El Mucho Ding Dong. Congratulations.
El Mucho Ding Dong. Look at that. Said that I wouldn't say his name on the show, and instead, they are the Chat Champ here
Not
today.
only did you say El Mucho Ding Dong, you said C.
Don't say it. We can't get canceled. No, it's like a rated R movie. You know, you get like one F word in a rated R movie, and like you don't get it right. We can say that word one time.
Yeah.
We said it one time on the show, and we can't say it ever again. That's how it goes. Thank you, everybody who was in the show, in the chat for this show, making it a lot of fun here on a Friday, getting the weekend started off right. Seth, thank you so much for filling in this week, man. This was a lot of fun. I know a lot of people love the whiteboard segment. I love the trivia segment as well, even though we weren't victorious. But this has been a fun week, my friend. Always really great talking football with you.
This has been super fun. We'll have to do it again sometime.
I didn't go that far.
Okay. Good. I'm happy.
I enjoyed this time.
I also enjoyed hanging out with you on the set this week. Thank you for your hospitality.
All right, go check out the Chell standings. Everybody obviously go follow Seth and all of his great work on Twitter. You on TikTok? You TikTok?
Not really. I did a few
but like this
videos.
stuff would be good for TikTok. Like the whiteboard stuff would be great for TikTok. We'll get the clips. We'll start firing up your TikTok. Go follow Seth on all the social media platforms. Read all of his great work over at Pro Football Focus. He does a fantastic job making everybody a smarter football fan, myself included. Appreciate everybody watching the show all week. It was a lot of fun. A very intense trade deadline, so I'm glad that you guys were here with us as we were able to freak out about all of that. Congrats to El Mucho Ding Dong for being the chat champ, which means you got to be back on Monday's show to represent the chat. Mondays are always a jam-packed show. We'll be recapping everything that we watch in Week 9 of the NFL. I am Trevor Sikkema for Seth Galina. For everybody in the production booth, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you back right here Monday morning at 11 a.m. Have a good weekend, guys. We'll see you then.
It's not about politics. It's about football.
This is a simple game.
We're going to run the ball, and we're going to pass the ball. We're just going to play football, really.
How good of a football player are you?
I just get in and try to spin it. That's all.
I just love the game. It really is the best time of the year.